folks, that is Rosalynn Carter being taken to her home at a funeral event. She was a great First Lady, wife to President Jimmy Carter, who is not in attendance today but will be at a ceremony at Emory University tomorrow. This is on Fox 5 channel here in the Atlanta metropolitan area. As I understand it, just members of the Carter family are in attendance. And here in the Atlanta metropolitan area, this is on every station, it seems. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark ZennyReport.com for more news about the passing of Mrs. Carter.
Ready, head. Ready, down. Ready, up. Ready, step. Ready, face. Ready, step.
Grateful to the Carter family for letting us have this time and the opportunity to say farewell to our founder, especially for all of us who will continue to carry on her amazing work. From the time Jimmy Carter woke up and thought, I want to create a Camp David in the middle of Atlanta, Rosalynn Carter was his full and equal partner. Everything that she did, from the founding of the leadership, founding and the support and the leadership of the center, they did together. Her compassion, her ability to connect, her political savvy was something that helped build the support for all of our programs over the last 40 years. As in all parts of their life, they shared key decision-making and strategic vision for the center, and for that we're forever grateful. President and Mrs. Carter served in lockstep on health and peace missions throughout the world. He relied on her reporting skills and her amazing ability and intuition in assessing and negotiating with partners and world leaders. She was his right hand in difficult situations like Haiti and North Korea. She joined him while they sought peace in Liberia, in the Middle East, and Sudan. And she was there while helping nascent democracies in Latin America and Africa have free and fair elections. And of course, she worked and went to the end of the road to help with eradicating guinea worm and other neglected tropical diseases. She was moved by the people that she met, especially women and children and strong women leaders and families, people who wanted to have the same thing for her life that she felt she was giving to her family. And nothing speaks more poignantly to that than her office here at the Carter Center. There is not one flat surface in that office that is not covered with a picture of her family, of her children, of her grandchildren, of her great-grandchildren, interspersed with world leaders, other first ladies, and media influencers. Because that's what she was. She was a people person. And one of my favorite pictures is the one that sits across from her desk, and it's a group of women outside the White House in 1979 protesting against the Equal Rights Amendment. And I asked why she kept it there, and she said, because there's a lot of work left to do when we left the White House. And for 40 years, she did that work. Her top priority was mental health, and with her staff and the amazing experts in the Mental Health Task Force, she advocated for changes in public policy and the availability of treatment for people who needed them and elimination of stigma. She convened national and state leaders for the Mental Health Task Force, and she made sure we focused on at-risk children, veterans, and people who had been through trauma. She wrote 2 books, and then realizing that the media was covering in a very sensationalized way behavioral health issues, she decided that she was going to create a fellowship, and this fellowship was going to help educate media as to how to destigmatize and use the right language on mental health. From her time as honorary chair of the Carter administration's Presidential Commission on Mental Health, she learned how crucial parity was and mental health insurance coverage. She knew that that was needed to overcome stigma. She worked for decades to get it passed into law, and one of the last calls she made to Eve was to say, is there any way that we can get Georgia from a D ranking up into a B? So in 2022, when Georgia passed the Mental Health Parity Act, for her, that was a sign that people were that much closer to recovery. And it was also a sign that the mental health program and our team here would be carrying on her legacy. For the Carter Center's mission of waging peace, fighting disease, and building hope, Mrs. Carter was a force multiplier. President Carter described her as the perfect extension of myself. While intimately involved in the Carter Center programs for mental health, she also focused on advocacy for women, insurance, vaccinations, environmental protections, human rights. It was all part of who she was as a colleague here at the center. She also shared her knowledge with students from Emory. She taught at Emory for Women's Studies. She had an endowed chair in 1997 at Emory. It was the first mental health endowed chair at any university in the nation. She brought leaders like Madeleine Albright and Sandra Day O'Connor here to campus and to Emory, and she worked with Agnes Scott students, and we are appreciative to have the Agnes Scott Choir here with us today. As the first CEO post their retirement, I got to spend time with them down in Plains, and it never failed that Mrs. Carter, as she always did, would walk you to the door, and that southern gracious hospitality to be sure that you were seen out, and she would share anecdotes with me about everything from sitting in cabinet meetings to rocking the boat when Margaret Thatcher, when she sat in a cabinet meeting with Margaret Thatcher, and she said, I think the staff just thought I was a woman and that's why I was there, but I sat in all of Jimmy's meetings. So it was a true partnership, and all of this while she was packing up chocolate chip cookies for Barbara and Kashef and I to take back for the drive to make sure that they didn't go to waste. Former Carter Center CEO Dr. John Hardman spent 2 decades working closely with the Carters, and he will share a few of his memories to give us a sense of the energy that she brought and the excitement she brought when she was here at the center. This is our lore. This is our reminder of the spirit and the traditions that our founders, and it is our inspiration. And for now, it is my story, it is your story, and it will be everybody's story as we carry out her work here at the Carter Center. When asked what she wanted to be remembered for, she said, I would like to think that people understood that I took advantage of the opportunities that I was given, and I did the best that I could. And I have to say, Mrs. Carter did more than that, and we'll miss her terribly.